In the Zoom world, thank you so much for joining us. My name is Matthew. I'm up here in Anchorage, Alaska, and I'm looking forward again to showing everyone the information we have available. We do have printed brochures 2020. The 2021 should be out here in the next few weeks, but if you need more information, of course, it's on our website at kissalaska.com. We are offering 8 ground tours. We have 2 winter tours. So we have our Iditarod and our Winter Wonders tour, which is the Northern Lights and coming to see Alaska in the springtime. Anyone who wants to come up here at Christmas and enjoy our 4 hours of daylight, please feel free, but March and April are much more enjoyable. So with that, I want to thank everybody for coming today. My name is Matthew. I have been with John Hall Tours since 2003. When I am not working for this wonderful organization, I'm out chasing rainbow trout such as that. Caught that one with Joe Hall a couple years ago. We snapped pictures, let them go, but enjoyed doing that. I've been a rafting guide, a fishing guide, an adventure guide since about 1991 or 2, but really enjoy working with the Halls and showing Alaska to all our visitors. I think what separates us from the others is our passion for Alaska. John Hall Sr. made his first trip to Alaska in 1955 from Minnesota. He and his father rode in this beautiful 1947 Cadillac, followed up a truck that was loaded with 500 cases of eggs bound for Fairbanks. So they made that pilgrimage from Minnesota up to Alaska. John Sr.'s first trip in 1955. He started bringing the kids up in 85, and the 3 children have all come up. But 2 years ago, when Emerson came up, he was the 5th generations of Hall to come up to Alaska. So we've been in Alaska as an organization since 1955. It's family first here. What's great is not only are they a great family to work for, but once you are welcomed into the family, you become part of the family. So John Sr. there in the middle, he founded our company he founded Anderson House back in the 80s, started doing trips to Alaska in 85. John Jr. Is down. He's our vice president of marketing. Joe keeps our buses running, and Liz keeps everything else going. I know that the guys do more than I just said there, but what a great family to work for. The 4 Halls have over 100 years of experience in Alaska, and their passion, our passion as tour managers is what really makes this a fun and exciting job. So Elizabeth is actually a resident of Alaska. She spends more time up here than Minnesota anymore, so she is getting that dividend check, or just got her dividend check, or well, next year, I guess. But she is an Alaskan resident. John has lived up here on and off. He was up here a couple summers ago, and Joe's up here with Randy all the time fixing the buses. But what a great family to work for. When you visit Alaska, we are not only going to show you the highlights and share our experiences with you, but we're also going to educate you. So there are more than just Eskimos in Alaska. There's 5 different cultural areas you can see up here in the orange. That's the Inupiaq. That's where the Eskimos are. The Yupik culture over here on the coast by Bethel. The central or south central interior part of Alaska is the Athabascans. Anchorage is here. Denali Park about here. Fairbanks here, but this is the largest area. And then you get into the Alutiiq and the Aleutian tribes out here. And then in the southeast we've got the Haida, Shoshaman, and the Tlingit, as well as the Yak. So there's a lot more than just Eskimos in Alaska. We refer to them as natives, and they all have distinctly different heritages and different paths or few great stories of the past. So sorry about that, but we're going to educate you while you're up here as well. So please type in those questions. Last year, we had about 1.9 million visitors to Anchorage. 1 million of them got to enjoy the cruises down here in Southeast Alaska. We really feel that the interior part of Alaska is a very important part to see. You can see that only about 450,000 people visited Denali last year. And Denali is just a fantastic jewel. It is accessible by road from either Fairbanks or Anchorage. All our tours go through Denali, but you can see that we really, in a short amount of time, receive about just under 2 million visitors. So we are excited to show you that. What a lot of people don't realize, oh, sorry, I got ahead of myself there. Our average summer temperatures in Anchorage is in the red here. We're in the 60s. It's 55 today. It's going to be a high of 72. We hit 81 the other day. It's a little cooler in June. It's a little cooler in August. July is a little warmer. Not as cold as you would think, but Juneau and Anchorage have pretty much the same temperatures throughout the summer. They get a little warmer in the winter. Barrow, which is at the northernmost part of Alaska, you can see those average temperatures, that's, evening and day, are about 47 degrees in July. When we go up to the gates of the Arctic on our national parks tours, we do go up to Barrow, so you get to the top of Alaska. As you move inland from Anchorage, traveling north towards Talkeetna, Denali Park, and Fairbanks, as you get away from Cook Inlet, you get away from those tidal glaciers, the temperature is actually warmer. So Fairbanks is 72 degrees is an average in July. It's not uncommon when you visit Fairbanks to see temperatures in the 90s. So make sure that you bring the right amount of clothing. I tell people, you want to be ready for 90 degrees in Fairbanks if your trip takes you there, and you want to be ready for that 55 degrees and misty rains of the coastal areas. So Fairbanks, although it does hit 90, close to 100, there's very, very little humidity. So it's actually pretty comfortable up there. When you visit Alaska in the summer months, June, July, and August, well, June and July more so, the warmest part of the day is from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. So a little reminder for those folks that are used to the lower 48 is 2 o'clock is not the warmest part of the day. 6 and 7, 8 o'clock, you'll be out on the patio having a beer or enjoying dessert on the patio at Pikes, and it just feels like it's getting warmer, and it is because we have so much daylight. Rainfall is not a big deal. Anchorage is in the red there. We have 6 inches of rain in the summer. So June has 1 inch, July has 2, and August has 3. So we really have 2 inches of rain a month. If you're down in Florida or North Carolina or Georgia, you get 2 hours of rain in an hour and a half. So we do not receive heavy amounts of rainfall typically. The green graph there, that's down in Ketchikan, that's in Southeast, that's in the Tongass National Wildlife or the Tongass Rainforest, and they receive quite a bit more rain. But in the south central part where our ground tours are, you are not going to have days and days and days of torrential downpour. So the grain really gets green in June and July. The color changes in late August and into September are phenomenal. But of course, when you travel with us, we're going to provide you with your own rain jacket, and we'll tell you more about that later. There's 4 great expectations our travelers have. They want to see glaciers when they come to Alaska. There's 3 types of glaciers. Half of the world's glaciers are in Alaska, so there's over 100,000 glaciers. This is a maritime glacier. These are the glaciers that terminate in the ocean. We've got the alpine or mountain glaciers, and then we also have hanging glaciers. So we are going to make sure that you see all of these. They are phenomenal. So this one's out in Prince William Sound. Mountains, plenty of mountain ranges, including Denali. Denali, again, is about 2/3 of the way to Fairbanks. It's the tallest mountain in North America. It's actually the tallest mountain from base to height in the world. So the base of that mountain is between 1,300 and 2,000 feet, and it peaks at 20,310. We can see Denali from Anchorage on a clear day, and it's about 150 miles away. So get into that in a little bit, but Denali is phenomenal. It's on the horizon out there. I got some other stories I'll tell you here in just a little bit. But lots of mountains to see up here. There's 14 distinct mountain ranges. There's 39 sub-mountain ranges, but never too far from mountains when you're visiting Alaska. Great scenery. This is in Thompson. This is actually Keystone Waterfall down by Valdez. We love to travel through here on our Untamed tour, our national park tour as well. The valleys north of Valdez receive 600 to 800 inches of snow. So in June and July, those waterfalls are just spectacular. We like to take our guests off the beaten tourist path of Alaska and show you some wonderful scenery, but Bridal Falls, Keystone Falls, down that stuff down in Valdez, but lots of phenomenal scenery in Alaska. Of course, the wildlife, everyone wants to see that, and the wildlife is abound. There are 1,500 moose in Anchorage. There are about 40 brown bears in Anchorage. It's not uncommon for you to be greeted by your John Hall representative at the airport in Anchorage, and on that 2-mile ride to the lakefront, there's moose sitting right by the Welcome to Anchorage sign, kind of on cue. But plenty of wildlife up here. We've got the coastal brown bears, the grizzly bears, we've got the moose and the caribou and the muskox, and those are the land critters. And when we get out on the ocean, we get into Prince William Sound or Kenai Fjords, down there in Southeast, of course, there's humpback whales and orcas, seals, sea lions, harbor seals. You just never know. So plenty of wildlife up here. So the great thing in Alaska is as soon as you go out the door, you become part of nature. Our smaller group settings allow us to immerse ourselves deeper into Alaska and share our experience with you. In order to keep everyone safe next year, we're going to move forward with some plans that we already have in place, but the largest group size we have is 24. And Elaine, I think you're in that picture right there. So that was on our trip to McGrath 2 years ago when we went out on the Iditarod. But our group sizes are limited to 24 people, and that allows us to really immerse ourselves in the culture, in the area, in the activity, and keep it personal. So we really take pride in that. Our motor coaches are custom-made motor coaches. They're MCI out of Canada. We started ordering those back in 1989. We've got 6 of them up here. Our motor coaches are designed to hold 46. So with a group of 24, we've got plenty of spacing in there to keep that social distancing in order. The other great thing is once you board your motor coach on day 1 of the tour, that's your motor coach pretty much for the duration of your trip. So if you want to leave a camera bag in there, you want to leave an extra jacket, you can. The other great thing, which I have a little humor that I'm going to throw at you here, but a lot of times when you're traveling with your spouse or your traveling partner and you just need a break, guess what? There's always an open seat with a window. So you don't have to sit next to your spouse the whole time. You're welcome to, but we just do what she says and keep moving. Great motor coaches. There's 19 inches of leg room in between each of these rows of seats. And as I said earlier, our plan is to basically every other row have our travelers in there. There's power outlets on the backs of these seats. So if you need to keep those phones charged, those cameras charged, get your iPod charged up, you can. A little armrest there. We've got customized galleys in the back of every bus. So we've got our Keurig machine back there with coffees, hot teas. There's a cooler next to Emerson here. This is John Hall's junior son, Emerson. He's the 5th generation of Alaskan to come up here, but he helped his father with a tour here 2 years ago, and we put some miles on him as he took care of everybody up and down the aisles. There are bathrooms on every motor coach. We've got sanitary guidelines to keep everybody clean and healthy as we move forward into 2021. But these motor coaches are fantastic. They're very comfortable. There's air conditioning on there, so we want to keep you comfortable as we travel north towards Denali or down towards Kennecott and the Wrangell St. Elias. But we really take pride in these motor coaches. Randy and Joe keep them running, and we want you to be comfortable at all times. When we visit places like Valdez, Whittier, Cordova, we prefer and we use these small boat excursions. So when we board these vessels to cruise from Whittier over to Valdez or from Valdez over to Cordova, we charter that boat. There's no one else on that boat except for the crew and the mates. So our John Hall guests get a premier experience. These small boats, of course, have, you know, full bathroom facilities. They're really twice as big as what we need, but we want you to be comfortable. We want you to stretch out. We don't want you fighting for those pictures of those experiences. And with those small boats, that allows us to get closer to the wildlife, to the humpback whales, to the seals, the sea otters, and such like that. So you really get a great experience on those small boats. There's a picture I took last year. There's a little humpback whale jumping out and doing its thing. The humpback whales are in Alaska from April through October. So if you're really excited about coming up, and what's the best month for wildlife? Every month in the summer. So April through October. I was down in Southeast Alaska last October 2nd, and we had humpback whales and orcas. So there's never a shortage of wildlife. There's resident orcas as well, and the humpbacks are up here feeding before they head down to Mexico and Hawaii. So lots of wonderful wildlife opportunities. Also, when we go into Prince William Sound, we're going to have a little glacial ice on board. So we'll go over to the face of these glaciers. We don't carve it off the glacier. We let that deposit into the ocean. We pick up a piece of ice. We've got a naturalist on board. They're going to explain the process, how that block of ice there in her hands is really sometimes 500 to 2,000 years old, depending on how long the glacier is. So it's pretty phenomenal to sit there and hold a chunk of ice that's over 1,000 years old. I remember one of the first trips my mother-in-law took with me. We were in Prince William Sound. We were back in the College Fjords, and the naturalist explained to us that the ice falling off the front of the glacier was a snowflake when the carpenter guy in Jerusalem was walking around. So some of these glaciers are 2,000 or 3,000 years old, but we will go scoop up a little bit of that ice, have a little naturalist talk. We have been known to make those ice chunks a little smaller and add a little vodka or gin to them. So we'll leave that up to your tour director. But it's phenomenal to get in front of those glaciers. There are 100,000 glaciers in Alaska. So you would have to take all our trips about 11 times to see all those glaciers. But there are 100,000 glaciers, plenty of those on the road system as well as out there in the ocean. There's a little action of the glaciers calving. And a lot of people don't realize that glaciers calve because they're moving forward. They're moving forward because they're growing. Are some of them going backwards? Yeah, but some of them are going forward. So I'm going to leave that there. It's too early for red wine in that discussion, but we are going to get you with those small boats into positions to see these glaciers calving in the oceans, enjoy the wildlife that uses that sanctuary. The seals go in there to have their pups. They lay up on the ice, and as the orcas enter the bay, the orcas cannot differentiate between a seal and a chunk of ice, so these seals have a safe haven in front of these glaciers. I was down in Southeast last year. We went into a glacial bay, and we saw about 500 seals. So this is in Prince William Sound. This is pretty awesome. Some of these glaciers are over 100, 200 feet high, so pretty awesome. And it's just one of those things that you won't forget when you hear the sound of that crumble and the smell of earth hit the ocean. We use the Alaska Railroad on all of our trips. There are every car that is towed by the rail, Holland America, Celebrity, they're all on there. But we use this third or fourth car back. This is the Gold Star service. So these are domed rail cars. We enjoy premium service with Alaska Rail. So if you're on there for about 4.5 hours. We don't believe in putting you on that train all day. When you travel on the Gold Star service, we've got that dome car up top. About 2/3 of that car is open dome. The back third of that car on the top level is an open air viewing area. So you can get outside, take pictures unobstructed of the mountains, see the wildlife. These trains travel at about 35 miles an hour, so they're not zooming up and down the trail or tracks. Downstairs is our dining car, so if you're on the morning departure out of Anchorage, you'll have breakfast down there. If you're traveling south out of Denali, you'll have lunch, but that meal will be included with you. But what a great way. There's tons of history about the railroad on there, but we do provide that Gold Star service. It's amazing. If you are planning to come to Alaska, we encourage you to come up a day or two early, especially if you're coming in July. So Brooks Falls down in Katmai is the heaviest population of bears in Alaska. Elizabeth and I did a little field research last week, and we went down to Katmai and went to bear school, and we got to see these big, huge 1,000-pound bears eating salmon. So if you're coming up on a July departure, and ask the gals in the office, Jenny or Bridget, but great bear viewing opportunities. So salmon, you can see two of those guys are yanking on salmon and eating them. The other guy's just waiting. But it's a phenomenal experience to be within 40, 50 feet of these bears. All they want to do is fill their bellies with salmon, and you get to hear them crunching on the bones, and they just eat salmon. They don't eat tourists, so it's phenomenal. This is on our Three Bears tour. Last year, we flew out of Kodiak, and we went over to coastal Katmai. We had fabulous guides out there. As you can see, you know, we're within about 40 feet of that bear, 50 feet of that bear, but we really immerse you in the local activity. You look down that line, everybody's wearing hip boots, so we had to walk through some water that was about 10, 15 inches deep, but we were able to get over and then really get into close proximity to that bear, never in danger. Our guides kept us safe. Fresh food, not fast food when you travel with John Hall Tours. Please let our gals in the office know if you have any dietary restrictions. But as you dine every night at the hotel we are staying in, or when we get up to Denali, we have different food options, but we do not do buffets. We order off the menu. It's an appetizer, an entree, and dessert. So we will keep you fed. Elaine knows that you don't lose weight on our tours. So we really enjoy, you know, fresh Alaskan vegetables, salmon, halibut. We throw a little crab in there, but we let you look at that menu and you decide what you want to eat. When we go up to Denali, you decide what time you want to eat dinner. So we really want you to have that freedom. If you eat right, at the end of your tour, you'll look like that. So that was one of the pictures I got up in Katmai last year. Each night, the first libation is on us. We want you to enjoy the evening, sit back with your friends, discuss what you've just enjoyed for the day. That first glass of beer, that first glass of wine is on us. The second, third, and fourth is on you. If you get to number 4, the Northern Lights will come out, but that first one is definitely on us. So we want you to enjoy some local flavor as well. Our value-added approach is what sets us apart. You become part of our family. You're not just another number, but all meals are included. All your gratuities are included. Your airport meet and greet 24 hours a day, land and fully guided services. So when we enjoy that tour in Denali Park, we are with a tour guide. All the luggage handling fee, you can see all that, but it's our value-added approach. We have 35 years of experiences, and we have amplified and enhanced each year to make that trip more enjoyable, more comfortable. You come up and get your feet wet and enjoy Alaska with us, and let us show you the best way we can. Lakefront Hotel is in Anchorage, so our accommodations are comfortable. This is actually about 2 miles from the airport. It sits on Lake Hood. Lake Hood is the busiest float plane base in the world. Again, if you come up in June or July, plenty of daylight. It does not get dark in June. It starts getting dark in July, about the 15th, but no northern lights in Alaska in June. So, and no northern lights really until about August 10th. But this is the Lakefront Hotel. It's on Lake Hood. There's about, on average, 60 to 70,000 takeoff and landings a year on Lake Hood. So you grab a cup of coffee, you walk out the back door, and you're literally 100 yards from the busiest float plane base in the world. We use wilderness lodges. This is in Seward. We stay at the Talkeetna Alaskan Lodge. The lodge here, Talkeetna is the closest town to the south side of Mount Denali. So this is about 62 miles from the parking lot up to the tip of the mountain there, but that's on the south side of Denali. This is one of our favorite stops as both winter and summer. So every tour stops at the Talkeetna Alaskan Lodge. We stay at the Bluffs Hotel in Denali State Park. right just below the brand new hotel here. This is the Nenana River. So every single room has a patio. We look out towards Denali National Park. This is a wonderful, wonderful facility. I think it's 2 years old, maybe 3, but great place to enjoy Denali when you're staying at the gate or the entrance to Denali. Our backcountry lodges that we use the Denali Backcountry Lodge. This is 92 miles into the park. So it's a little bit of a trek to get in there. We spend 2 nights at the Denali Backcountry Lodge. What's fabulous about the Denali Backcountry Lodge, and I'll touch on it again, is really after about 4:30 in the afternoon, we have that entire park to ourselves. So there's a couple other backcountry lodges, but that day traffic that comes in for the tours, they've come and gone. So from 4 o'clock in the afternoon until about 9:30, 10 o'clock the next morning, we really have that far part of the park to ourselves. This is Moose River down here. There's grayling fishing in here. There's gold panning in here. You can see the cabins here. This is a fantastic place to view the northern lights if you come in late August or on our Three Bears tour in September. Up here in the far corner, this is the Kantishna International Airport. So talk to your tour manager about flight seeing options as an add-on if you want to go fly around the park and see more animals, if you want to fly around Denali and see that. But there's all kinds of activities. And what's great here is you're really about 110 miles from Fairbanks, about 160 miles from Anchorage. So you're really out in the middle of nowhere. Lots of wildlife there. And again, great Northern Lights viewing in August and September. We stay at the Orca Adventure Lodge on our Untamed tour. This is an old cannery from the early 1900s. We spend 2 nights here, and at these adventure lodges, you have the option to choose the activity that you like. Saltwater fishing, sea kayaking, hiking, mountain biking, tour to the $1 Million Bridge, but we offer you that option. We don't tell you what to do every day. We want you to have that ability to take a deep breath, and if she wants to go halibut fishing and you want to go kayaking, we'll talk about it at dinner. So great place to enjoy over there in Cordova. This is the Borealis Base Camp. This is part of our Aurora Adventures tour in March. This is about 40 miles north of Fairbanks up on Himalayan Ridge, but these custom built igloos, 2 guests in each cabin. There's 72 degrees in there. The windows were illuminated for the picture, but these windows here are actually airplane or helicopter glass. So you lay in bed and there's a nice gentle chime that wakes you, and we watch the northern lights from the comfort of your cabin. If you want to come out on the deck, of course, you can enjoy the northern lights there as well. But that's the Borealis Base Camp north of Fairbanks. There's 8 national parks in Alaska. We visit 5 of them on our national parks tour. If you're going south with Holland America, you'll also go to Glacier Bay, but we've got Katmai National Park down there. That's Brooks Falls, and down there by King Salmon, the heaviest concentration of bears. Wrangell St. Elias is north of Valdez. Wrangell St. Elias National Park is the largest national park in the United States. It's about 8.2 million acres. It sisters or shares borders with the Kluane National Park in Canada. So those parks together are about 13.7 million acres. This is a wonderful national park, and we do travel there on our national park tours. Gates of the Arctic is up there in Anaktuvik Pass. The Kenai Fjords National Park is down there in Seward on the Kenai Peninsula. Glacier Bay National Park, just north of Juneau, is a great stop on the cruise ships as you go south. Lake Clark is not part of any of our tours, but we can certainly add on Lake Clark and Kobuk Valley up there by Kotzebue. So if we have anyone that wants to come up and check off all 8 national parks, let us know. And of course, the crown of Alaska is Denali National Park. And Denali National Park is about, it's 235 miles north of Anchorage by road. And the park is 4 to 5 times bigger than Yellowstone. So it's just phenomenal. But we do visit 6 of the 8 national parks. And if you'd like to see the Lake Clark or Kobuk Valley National Park as well, come up a couple days early, but talk to Jenny, Bridget, or Deanna, and they'll give you more information on that. Keep your questions coming so Lauren can answer them. Denali National Park is a little different than what you're used to down in the lower 48. There's one road in to the Denali Backcountry Lodge. It's about 92.5 miles in there. We have a bus that takes us with a drive, well, we get our own driver, but we come down this 92-mile road. It takes us about 4.5 to 5.5 hours, and then we spend our 2 days back in the Cantish or the Denali Backcountry Lodge. If you're on our Denali Explorer, which is our shorter version, our quick trip to Alaska, it's 2 nights at the park entrance. But as we get in here, you get past mile 17, and this is accessible only by designated buses. So it's not like Yellowstone where you see a buffalo and 15 cars pulled around. We really take pride in getting in there and getting deep into the park at mile 92.5. So it's fantastic. Lots of moose in Denali Park. Denali Park is 2,000 feet above sea level. So if you're coming up there in August or September, it's a little cooler. But the other thing, it's a little warmer in June and July. So lots of moose. We've got the caribou. We've got the Dall sheep. And we've got the grizzly, the interior grizzly bear. So the interior grizzly bear and the coastal brown bear are the same animal with different diets. So the grizzly bears are foraging. They're eating caribou and moose, berries and insects. Those coastal brown bears are eating salmon. So there are no coastal brown bears in Denali, but plenty of those interior grizzly bears in there. And of course, there's the Toklat wolf pack is in there. And we've got the little critters such as the foxes and stuff like that. But we're really keeping an eye out for those critters. They're everywhere. It's phenomenal. The season in Denali is just a little over 100 days. Those animals are constantly feeding. They're constantly moving. So it's pretty amazing. The bus drivers, we use the Denali Backcountry Lodge there. Martin's one of the drivers. He's been driving that road. This is his 30th season. He's got 1 million miles on that road, but Martin has sharp eyes, and he's going to show you the moose and caribou and the Dall sheep and such. So it's a great ride back into the park. Always keep an eye out for these guys, but they are just phenomenal. My wife and I took a trip up to Denali a couple years ago, and we had a wolverine walk right in front of our car, but pretty awesome. Again, John Hall Tours stays at the Denali Backcountry Lodge. That's the last lodge on the road, so 92 miles into the park. It's about 7 miles from Wonder Lake, but really we want you to be immersed in the surroundings and the total serenity that is the Backcountry Lodge. It is phenomenal back there. You're looking at the north side of the mountain, not the south side. The south side is on Talkeetna. The north side is on the National Park side. But a great way to go back there and enjoy some scenery and get that isolation feel. So it's pretty awesome. Again, there's the Denali Backcountry Lodge. We talked on that a little earlier. This is Wonder Lake. They offer shuttles from the lodge to Wonder Lake hourly. If you want to go out and do a little guided hiking, unguided hiking, it's a great place up here on this little hill. No, I can't, there it is. This little knoll here, you're looking, Denali's over here to the right, but a fantastic place. You get Wonder Lake, you get that moose in the still water, and you get Denali over here. If you come up in middle August into September, this entire area of yellow and brown is blueberries. So you get to pick some blueberries and look for animals, and it's just really fantastic. I love going out here after the day tours leave. I give them about an hour, but get out there at 5 or 6 o'clock, go out after dinner. Don't try to walk back to the lodge. It's about 6.5, 7 miles, but go out there, enjoy a glass of wine, and just really, get with Alaskan nature out there. There's always a chance of seeing moose. You can tell these folks have been married for over 35 years. He's got her in a position that he can shove her towards that moose if anything happens, but you never know when you're going to see a little wildlife, moose sightings, caribou, bears, owls, all kinds of good stuff out there. So great shot of the north side of Denali at Wonder Lake there. And that's about 45, 50 miles away. So that mountain is, again, 20,000 feet here and about 2,300 down here. So it's twice as tall as everything in Colorado. There's a little bit of gold panning out there. You're going to get a little history on the area. Kantishna was founded from the gold rush back in the early 1900s, but your tour manager is going to tell you all about that. We do daily wildlife counts because we spend so much time in Denali, and John Hall Tours spends more time in Denali than any other tour company. Unless you're traveling on your own, you're going to see more wildlife. You're going to have better encounters with the wildlife. You've got a much higher chance of seeing the mountain. So traveling with us on any of our tours other than the Denali Explorer Tour puts you in the park for 2 days, not for 12 hours, but for 2 days. So really a phenomenal way to see Denali. We've got relationships with some of the pioneers, well, most of the pioneers in Alaska. This is Susan Butcher on the right. She's the Iditarod champion. She won the Iditarod 4 times back in the 90s or 80s and early 90s. We visit the kennel up there in Fairbanks. We lost Susan to leukemia a few years ago, but we still visit Dave and see the kennel at work up there. Great relationship with them, and they're just part of our family. Phenomenal. We get to hang out with these sled dogs and they explain to us that the early guys are basically, we figure out their mentality. Are they going to be good sled dogs runners, or are they going to be better pets? And we get that connection. You get the hands-on with the dog. You're not standing behind a fence, so you will get a little puppy love while you're out there as well. We have we have our tours here. We've got our signature series, our adventure series, our highway experience. So we do have a tour that runs from Anchorage down to Seattle, our Winter Wonders tours, and our Inside Passage cruises. This is all on the website. This is in our brochures. So it tells you the little bit of differences between each of the tours. But we really want you to enjoy Alaska, not just sit on a bus, but get a little bit of adventure and excitement at your choosing. Our Denali, that's our 9-day package tour, is the Kenai Fish and Float. So that includes 2 nights at the Knik River Lodge just north of Anchorage. We go up to Denali and into Kantishna. We come back down. We stay at Alyeska, which is just south of Anchorage. We get out into Prince William Sound here. We do a little float trip on the Kenai River, and we get down into Homer. So this is a new trip for next year. It's a 9-day land package. Includes floating on the river, a little bit of fishing in here. We can absolutely accommodate anyone that wants to go salmon fishing or rainbow trout fishing, but this is a little more exciting. We're excited to offer this tour. So as you can see, motor coach, we get a little bit of rail. We've got that cruise out into Prince William Sound on that small vessel, so you get up close and comfy with Alaska. Our ground tours are coordinated with the southbound cruise ships. So we work with Royal Caribbean, Celebrity, and Norwegian. The gals in the office will coordinate your ground tour with your southbound departure if you'd like to do the ground tour and also the cruises south. So this is out in Blackstone. No, this is in Seward, getting up close and personal with these glaciers. That's the catamaran. That's out of Whittier. So that's the Voyager that we work with the small boat companies out there. But you can see that we keep you on smaller boats, a more intimate way to see Alaska. The Alyeska Hotel down in Girdwood. It's about 40 miles south of us. Great valley down there. Tram rides up the mountain. Girdwood's the northernmost rainforest, so great chance of seeing black bears and moose there as well. A little bit of floating. We visit the Salty Dog down in Homer. This is a local saloon. A little bit of character in there, and we hope you don't stay up till 5 in the morning, but you can absolutely do that. A little bit of fishing down there as well. So there's salmon fishing, there's halibut fishing. There's never a lack of fish and great times in Alaska. You can see we had a very fortunate day out there with some smooth water. This is the Knik Backcountry, or the Knik River Lodge. So it's nice little cabins, nice and quiet. 2 nights at the park entrance, and we get the view of the mountains, not only from the road, but also back there at Wonder Lake. We incorporate that train ride in there. And then this is a different tour we have. This is our Untamed tour. This tour goes up to Talkeetna on the rail. We overnight. We take the motor coach up to the park entrance. The next day we go into Kantishna for 2 days. We come back to the park entrance. We overnight again, and then we take our motor coach across the Denali Highway, which is phenomenal. That's the same valley that Denali National Park is. We spend 2 nights in Valdez, which includes a trip over to Mears and Columbia Glacier. We make our way down to Cordova for 2 days, and then we take that quick 37-minute flight back to Anchorage. But that's our Untamed tour. It's an 11-day land tour. You can see we've got the coordinated southbound cruises. If you'd like to just do a land tour, you can certainly do that. If you want to combine it with a southbound 7-day cruise, we can make that happen as well. But the girls in the office will walk you through that. There's the train going up north. We spend lunch with the Santos family. Mike Santos runs Doggone It Tours. So again, we get that private tour. We learn about the mushing community, what it takes to be a musher, either for recreation or also if you're getting ready to run the Iditarod. But it's a great way to get your hands on those puppies and learn about dog mushing and what an important part of Alaskan history that is as well. 2 nights in Kantishna, that's at Wonder Lake. There's the park entrance view from the bluffs, looking down at the Nenana River. That's the Denali Highway is fantastic. When we go across that 90-mile highway, it's 135 miles, but 90 of it's gravel, but you really get to see some phenomenal views. The Alaska Range, 12,000, 10,000 foot mountains back there, plenty of wildlife. We stop just north of Glen Allen to see the pipeline. We spend 2 nights in Valdez. We get you out into Prince William Sound to see the wildlife and the glaciers. So lots of orcas out there in Prince William Sound. We take the smaller boats out there, again, to give you that intimate experience. The glacial ice out there, it's phenomenal. But it really is our goal to get you out there and show you the Alaska that we've been enjoying for over 30 years. And again, 2 nights at the Backcountry, or at the Cordova, in Cordova at the Orca Lodge. There's your choice to do different activities when you stay at the adventure lodges, such as the Orca Lodge, the Denali Backcountry Lodge, and also the Kennecott Glacier Lodge. So we leave those choices up to you. We can certainly point you in the right direction, but we leave that choice up to you. Our Denali Explorer is a shorter, this is our shortest ground tour. This is a motor coach tour up to the park entrance. We spend 2 nights at the park entrance. This is our only tour that goes into Kantishna and back in the same day. So the Denali Explorer is the only tour we offer that does not spend 2 days at the Denali Backcountry Lodge. We rail back to Talkeetna. We overnight at the Talkeetna Alaskan Lodge, and then we motor coach the next day down to Seward for that Kenai Fjords trip, and then southbound on your trip to Vancouver. If you are sailing southbound from Seward to Vancouver, make sure your passport is up to date so that you can get off in Canada, but the gals in the office will explain all that to you. Our Denali Explorer 7 days, I just said that. We do the Wolf Den kennel there, so it's a fabulous way to, again, interact with those dogs. Restaurant, great restaurant in the Denali Park area is 229 Parks. Laura Cole is actually considered the best chef in Alaska. It's 5-star dining. She's got a little herb garden in the back there. When we pull into 229 Parks, it's a little, I don't know what the right word is. It's a little surprising to roll into a parking lot and see 4 or 5 cars and wonder why we're going to such a good restaurant. Well, that's because when we go to 229 Parks, we have exclusive rights to that restaurant. So our motor coach pulls in, their staff takes care of us, and we have just a wonderful meal up there with Laura. So there's a little bit of history. The competitors offer shorter tours, the Denali History Tour, the Tundra Wilderness Tour, that you can see those here. All of our tours into Denali are that 12 hours to Kantishna with either 2 nights at the Roadhouse or the 1-day trip all the way in and all the way out. Ask the gals in the office on that Denali Explorer tour about the bus in and flying back. So that's another option for us. Keep those questions coming. Did that. Again, when you travel either north or south on the rail, we've got that open area to view the wildlife. And we do have flag stops. So in Alaska, if someone's standing next to the rail and they wave a flag or they wave a shirt, the train has to stop for them. So they'll tell you all about that. Night in Talkeetna. We do enjoy breakfast at the Roadhouse. So we sit down to a home-style breakfast. The sourdough starter from the Talkeetna Roadhouse is from 1902. So we get some old-style sourdough pancakes. Kenai Fjords National Parks down in Seward, we visit those glaciers. We see puffins in Seward, also down in southeast Alaska. There's 5 different types of puffins. That little red beak is something that they grow in the mating months. These puffins spend 500 miles off the coast. When they come in to mate, they get those nice shiny red bills. But lots of different wildlife here when you're out in the marine wildlife areas. So there's our Grand Slam tour. This is a 9-day tour. This is a little different than the Untamed. This one starts with a rail down to Whittier. We get you to Valdez, Fairbanks, and around. But the Grand Slam's a little bit different than the Untamed. It's 2 nights in Valdez, and really you don't get that 2 nights at the Orca Lodge. That's the difference there. But if you jump on our kissalaska.com website, each one of these tours is broken down into about a 27-minute to 35-minute explanation. I could go through all the tours, but then we'd be here for 3 more hours. But get on our website. Again, weather in Alaska, when you get up next to these glaciers, it's a little cooler. So you want to be layered. You want to have a nice base layer, such as Under Armour, Patagonia, whatever, a nice down jacket under there. It's going to be in the 50s and 60s. We're not going to freeze you to death until you come up in Iditarod time, but then we take care of you there. So you always want to have layers. This is the rain jackets or the jackets, the windbreakers we provide. It's got your name on there and everything. But layers is the key when you're traveling Alaska. Have that little backpack, that little day pack in there for you. Getting up nice and close to that blue ice. There's lots of sea otters around. When we visit Fairbanks, we get out on the Riverboat Discovery that takes you down the Chena River to visit and get some history of the area. Then, of course, we go and see Dave at the kennel to enjoy a little bit of time with the dogs. Native cultural of the Athabascans, how they live off the land, use the caribou, the wolf, the bear. The Athabascans are nomadic tribes, or were until the 70s, and they would, we'll get y'all educated up on that. Meals are great. This is with Dave. He makes a fabulous chili. He makes a vegetarian chili, but we eat well while we're traveling. This is one of Susan's sleds. When Susan and Dave were up in Eureka, they used to hunt caribou, but again, you get that close Alaskan experience. Little puppies. So. Lots of salmon and halibut to eat while you're in Alaska. When you're in Fairbanks, again, it doesn't get dark in June. Doesn't get dark very much in July up there as well. A little bit of dinner theater, so we'll keep you entertained in the evening. These are not disgruntled employees. This is one of the dinner shows that we take you to in Fairbanks. 2 nights in Kantishna, Denali from Wonder Lake. We've hit that. That's Talkeetna. The Three Bears Tours of Alaska leaves the first week in September. This is one of our only tours that originates in Fairbanks. So the gals in the office will absolutely work with everyone to arrange your flights to and from Alaska and or Vancouver or Seattle. So if you're flying up from the Villages or the Midwest or Ohio or Colorado, the gals in the office can recommend flights to get your trip started. The Three Bears flies into Fairbanks. We split the group in half on the first day. Half go up to Kaktovik here on the Arctic slope to see the polar bears. The other half go to Chena. The next day we reverse so that other half can get up there. The reason we split that group in half is to keep that group size down to about 12 when we visit the village. They don't want 24 up there, and we want you to have a more intimate time. So a couple nights in Fairbanks. We rail down to Denali. We spend 2 nights looking at the interior grizzly bears. We get down to Talkeetna. We overnight in Talkeetna. We take an Alaska Airlines flight for 2 nights. We go down to Kodiak, and we spend 2 nights in Kodiak. Last year, we flew and we fly over to coastal Katmai to see the coastal brown bears. So we've got the polar bears, the interior grizzly bears, and the coastal brown bears. So that's our 3 bears. We should call it the 4 bears. We're going to see black bears in Denali Park as well. So that's a great way to see those fall colors and those big fat coastal brown bears down here in Katmai. 3 Bears is an 11-day tour, and again, that departure is on the 3rd of September. Again, the group size is limited to 24. So we use smaller commuter flights to get up to Anaktuvuk Pass and up to Barrow. That's our Kaktovik flight to see the polar bears. They're feeding on the bowhead whale carcasses that the native villages harvest. But we get up nice and close to these bears. There's about 80 bears in the Kaktovik area. So it's very, we want to make sure you see them. So that's that September 3rd date. There's our interior grizzly bear. You can see that's a male with that big hump on his shoulders. We get down to Kodiak. We do a couple other things just in bear viewing, but we fly out to remote areas. We see those bears. Those are the coastal brown bears. You can see they're a little fatter than those interior grizzlies, but these coastal bears are just, they're phenomenal. And you can see the back over their shoulder. Here's our little bear there. There's another bear there. There's a couple more bears there. So it's a fabulous trip on our 3 bears. Great fall colors in September as well. We stop at the Russian Orthodox Heritage Center in Kodiak as well. Lots of Russian history out there when Bering and the gang and Baranov were coming through Alaska back in the early 1800s. There's the Fort Abercrombie on the north side of Kodiak, World War II outpost, keeping an eye out for the Japanese. So there's a great little visit we do out there. The volunteers in Kodiak come out and they open up the armory and the fort, and they give us about 2.5, 3 hours to really explore the history of that area. So we have our national parks tour. This is a fantastic tour. This ground tour covers 5 of the 8 national parks. So we're going to get you, you're going to arrive in Anchorage. We're going to fly down to Katmai National Park to see the bears. We're going to get up to Denali National Park in Kantishna. We're going to the gates of the Arctic National Park here in Anaktuvuk Pass. When we take that plane that we've chartered, we do go up to Barrow so you can see the Arctic Ocean, dip your foot in the Arctic Ocean, go to the northernmost settlement in North America. We get over here to the Wrangell St. Elias National Park. We get down here to the Kenai Fjords National Park. And again, if you go with Holland America, we'll get you into Glacier Bay National Park as well. So you can hit 6 of the 8 national parks. If you come up a couple, 2 or 3 days early, we can get you over here to Lake Clark National Park and also up here to Kobuk National Park, which is the sand dunes north of the Arctic Circle. So that's one of our most popular tours. It's a 13-day land package coordinated with those southbound cruises. Again, the gals in the office will get you the information on that. This is a great picture over at Brooks. You can see the bears are less than 100 feet away, but they're feeding on those salmon, and it's just phenomenal. All they want to do is eat that 40 to 60 pounds of salmon every day and take a nap. So it's a great way to take just wonderful pictures and have an experience that like no other in the world, really. So it's not like Yellowstone where you see 1 or 2 bears off in the distance. Excuse me. High concentration of bears. Sometimes there's 20, 30 bears out there. So this is on Denali. This is on the Ruth Glacier. So this is an alpine glacier. The Ruth Glacier is about 35 miles long. The Kantishna Glacier is over 50 miles long, but seeing those from the air is phenomenal. The Kennecott Glacier Lodge is part of our glacier or our national parks tour. So this is deep in Wrangell St. Elias National Park. And it's an old mine from the early 1900s, the largest deposit of copper in the world at that time. But we go out there. They spent about 4.5, 5 years mining the area, and then World War I called everybody back to action. But great history, historical land site, pretty awesome. Gates of the Arctic National Park up there in Anaktuvuk Pass. So looking north towards we're above the Arctic Circle, but that's looking up towards the North Slope. But just phenomenal country up there, and really gives you an idea of how big it is. I missed a couple slides in here, but Alaska is 1/5 the size of the lower 48. It's 2.5 times the size of Texas. So we have about 775,000 people. There's about one person for every 0.8 miles in Alaska. So if you took the population density of Alaska and put it in New York City, there'd be 18 people in New York City. So we get up to Barrow and see the leftover from the native villages up there. They still harvest those whales. Great history up there. They've been up there for thousands and thousands of years. So the lifestyle is still subsistence based. This is smoked seal. We go out and, they still live off the land to a certain point there in those native villages. Of course, being in Barrow and most of rural Alaska is accessible only by airplane. So we'll touch on that. But there's a rail tour. There's Denali, Kenai Fjords. We do have the Canadian Rockies tour. This is a flight into Anchorage, and we get you all the way down to Vancouver. 17-day land package. There's another shot of Denali in the fall, just great colors. Middle of August, so about August 20th on, you just get the different colors. Get more daylight in June, you get more colors in August. Not sure we did all that. There's a little bit of bison that we see down there by Kluane Lake on our national park tour, or our tour of the Rockies, coming in through British Columbia and the Northwest Territories. We stay at the Northern Rockies Lodge, that's at Muncho Lake. We drive the world famous Alaskan Highway, and your tour manager is going to tell you all about the history. This picture is a little misleading because, again, next year's group sizes will be limited to 24. And just some wonderful, wonderful scenery through British Columbia, Northern Alberta, into the Northwest Territories. But glacial carved valleys, it's just amazing. And that's up there. That's just north of Jasper. Some great waterfalls there, but we love our time through Canada. We have our Winter Wonders tour. This is the week after Iditarod. This tour is going to start in Fairbanks, one night in Fairbanks. We're going to spend 2 nights at that Borealis Base Camp. This tour does include a flight up to Bettles. Bettles is a small community north of the Arctic Circle, so you will visit the Arctic Circle in the wintertime. It's phenomenal. 2 nights at the Borealis Base Camp. We're going to motor coach down to Talkeetna. This tour does include a flight around Denali and then down into Girdwood and ending in Anchorage. We're chasing the Northern Lights. If you come it's going to be the second into the 3rd week of March. There's 12 hours of daylight and 12 hours of darkness. So as you come south and you get into Anchorage, it'll be in the 40s during the day, down in the 20s at night. But great way to see the Northern Lights without coming up in December. So again, about 12 and a half, 13 hours of daylight on our Winter Wonders tour. When you travel on either the Winter Wonders tour or the Iditarod tour, we're going to outfit you with a down 3/4 length jacket, so you will be nice and toasty. So those jackets are good to about 20 below zero. So we do have one departure on Winter Wonders next year. It's going to be that March 16th to the 23rd. A little bit of sled dog action there. You can see she's got her Alaska John Hall jacket here to stay nice and toasty. If you live in the villages, we'll figure it out. But if you're a Midwesterner, those are great jackets to hold on to. They keep you plenty warm and make your trip a little more enjoyable. It's not going to be intolerable in March. A little bit of sled dog. That couple was actually from Australia. But great Northern Lights that time of the year. It gets dark about 8:30, gets light about 7:30 the next morning. So it's pretty awesome. That's at the Borealis Base Camp. A little bit of snowmobiling there. There's some actions and adventures out there to have. There's our flight up to out of Talkeetna up to Denali with glacial landings. that is an option as well in the summertime. So those glacier landings are available in the summer as well. Lots of northern lights. This is from Talkeetna. Yeah. So great, great northern lights. This is down in Girdwood at the Alaska Hotel. We spend 2 nights down there. Again, it's an adventure destination. So there's downhill skiing, there's snowshoeing down there. There's some other options, but this is our ski resort of South Central Alaska. Our Iditarod tour is phenomenal. I love Iditarod. We basically made it through the winter. We're into spring. The Iditarod sled dog race runs from Willow to Nome. Nome's up here. It's anywhere from basically 1,050 miles to 1,150 miles. There's 2 different routes. They alternate that every year. But this tour starts in Anchorage on Wednesday. On Thursday, we go to the Mushers Banquet. On Friday, we get up to the Muskox Farm. On Saturday, we watch the start of the race downtown. We watch those first 20 mushers. We get in our motor coach. We make our way up to Talkeetna for 2 nights at the Talkeetna Lodge. On Sunday, we come down to Willow to watch every single musher start their trip to Nome. Not last winter, but the winter before, John Jr. and I were driving from Willow to Talkeetna. It's about an hour, and we saw 37 moose on the side of the road. So it was pretty phenomenal. 2 nights in Talkeetna. We make our way up to Fairbanks, where we spend 3 nights at Sophie's. When we're in Fairbanks, we're going to view the northern lights, of course, but we're also going to have a fly out to a remote Iditarod checkpoint. Those checkpoints will be determined by weather. So we're going to go where the weather allows us. The day we do our Iditarod checkpoint, we're going to fly up and see Bettles and go see Eric and the gang up there in Bettles and make our way back to Fairbanks. On our tour in 2018, John and I saw the Northern Lights 5 days in a row. So pretty phenomenal. Great time. And a lot of history there for Iditarod. And that's on March 3rd through the 13th. So great time. If you have more questions on Iditarod, please let us know. Stop at the Muskox Farm and enjoy that on Friday. So that's great. We go to the Mushers Banquet. We actually go in early. We meet the mushers and we watch them draw their bib numbers. An exciting time. It's the only time all the mushers are in the same place at the same time. Once the race starts, they're never in the same place at the same time until the next Mushers Banquet. So you've got the winners finishing in about 8.5 days and everyone else behind them. But great way to meet the mushers, a great meal, and just really meet some interesting folks there at the banquet. So it's pretty casual in Alaska. We're comfort. So a nice shirt, some blue jeans. They're going to come up, thank their sponsors, and we're just have a great time. A good way to see old friends and family. And again, like I said earlier, it's really our transition from winter into spring. That starts downtown on Saturday. We watch that. It's great. There is an opportunity if you want to reach out to Bridget or Deanna or Jenny. You can become an IDITA musher, which means you can sit in the sled with these mushers in Anchorage for the first 16 miles. So you can become part of the race and enhance that experience even more. But that's downtown Anchorage on 4th Avenue. That's at the Talkeetna Alaskan Lodge. You can see great northern lights there. We do the restart in Willow, every single musher. That's when the race really starts, is on Sunday, but you can see how close we are to the action. It's phenomenal. And we have the motor coach there. It's just a great day. It's usually in the high 20s, low 30s. There's dog sled and snowmobile and cross-country adventures throughout that tour. If you're staying at the Borealis Base Camp, they actually run snow machine tours. They're unscripted, so they're going to take you where your ability is going to allow, but we do ride right up to the pipeline. So there's Elaine again. I think we lost her, but that's Elaine. She's there. That was our tour a couple years ago. We do a little curling in Fairbanks, so we have a little fun. I went in Rome, do as the Romans do, but we had a lot of fun. Curling on beer, so if you get into your libations, you might forget to let go of that stone. Great ice carvings going on in Fairbanks at that time. This was a world-class event. Carvers from around the world, Japan, China, everywhere, they're coming up. Fantastic ice sculptures. So Northern Lights. it's great. And that's up at Bettles. You can see again, those are beautiful jackets they got there, but we do get you up to the Arctic Circle. Out to a checkpoint. This is in McGrath. That's Lance Mackey. If you're an Iditarod fan, Lance has won the race 4 times, but great way to get nice and close. We do work with the larger cruise ships, Royal Caribbean, Celebrity, Norwegian on your southbound cruises. If you want to do land only, you can certainly do that. If you'd like to combine your land tour with a southbound cruise from Seward, let the girls know if you have a preference on the cruise ship style that you like, or if the date's more important, and they'll work that out for you. So we do have a small boat option as well, so the girls will tell you about that. That small boat departs in Juneau. This is my specialty. This is what I did last year, but we did about 1,160 miles of Southeast Alaska on our own small vessel. So we charter that vessel. It's pretty awesome.
Whoa! Whoa! Oh my God! Oh, wow!
So that was in South Sawyer. We had a little raft out there. I'll back up. Maybe right there's the little raft with 15 people in it.
Whoa!
Again, it's got Alaskan experience.
There it is. Here they come.
Oh, so cool.
Can't do that on the big boat. So our value-added approach, your airfare, our team will assist you with your travel. If you want to come up a day early, 2 days early, whatever, let us know. But we can absolutely help arrange the quickest, easiest, most cost-effective way to fly up. Your prices for short excursions with the large cruise ship lines are not included. Your shopping is not included. Your gratuities for your John Hall tour manager is not included. Everything else is included. Recommended tip or gratuity for your cruise manager is $20 a day. You can see it all right there. Ask the gals about travel insurance. If you're concerned at all, we can arrange some travel insurance for you to make sure you have peace of mind while you're traveling. Call the 800 number. Talk to Bridget, Jenny, Deanna. If you're within 3 or 4 hours of Lake City, Minnesota, call and ask them if you can come in and speak to them face to face. As we get through this current time, maybe a Zoom call is better, but we have in the past accommodated people that wanted to come down, stay at John Hall's Lodge in Lake City, and basically give you a private presentation of what we offer and to answer all your questions. Keep those questions coming in. Visit our website, call us, email us. Again, there's no silly questions. We're really looking forward to hosting our guests in 2021 with the smaller group sizes of 24. It's going to be even more exciting to have that more personal feel as we visit all of Alaska. So thank you for letting me go through my first Zoom meeting with you. And if you have questions, let us know. I think that's it. Yep, that's it. So it's 55 in Anchorage today. It's going to be 70 later today. It's not very dry or wet. Salmon fishing is wonderful. Bear viewing is amazing. Liz and I have been working up here the last few weeks, keeping our vendors and communicating with them and letting them know our dedication for 2021 and beyond. So thank you everyone for listening to me. I can ramble on forever. My email is matt@kissalaska.com. I'm happy to answer any questions. I've been up here since '86, and I really want to thank everybody for allowing me to share a little bit of Alaska with you today. And it looks like I'm 6 minutes under, so please keep those questions coming. Lauren and I will answer them, and we are really looking forward to having you be our guest in 2021 or beyond. If you were booked on 2020 and you've decided to move your trips to 2021, I'm sure that you've already been in touch with our gals, but we really want you to be part of our family and show you the authentic Alaska. Stop and smell the roses with those small motor coaches, not small motor coaches, but custom motor coaches as we travel down the road between Talkeetna and Denali. and we see a moose on the side of the road or a bear, we have the luxury of stopping that motor coach. Are we on a schedule? Yeah, we're on your schedule and our schedule. We're not on such a tight schedule that we can't stop and experience Alaska with your time that you're with us. So I want to thank everybody for joining me today. And if you have more questions, call that 800 number. Bridget and Jenny and Deanna are answering the phones, and we will look forward to seeing you all in 2021. Anything else? Let me know. Have a great day, everyone. Stay safe, and we'll move forward with anticipation. Keep your eyes out for our new website and our new brochure, which will be coming out in coming weeks. I'm not giving a date because I'm not allowed to do that, but we are looking forward to 2021 and beyond. So we will get Emerson into a John Hall jacket and on payroll here within the next 10 years. Have a great day, everyone, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.